Hello, and welcome to our Aging Life Care Moment with Phyllis Brostoff. Phyllis, you were one of the original members and one of the, and you attended the first meeting in New York in 1985. I'd love for you to share with us your experience at that meeting and your experience as one of the pioneers in aging life care management.
Well, thanks for asking, Deb. I went to that meeting because my business partner and I had started an organization about a year and a half before that, and we saw an advertisement in the NESW newspaper saying that there was a meeting in New York of people doing care management with elderly people. And I said, would you think one of us should go? And we agreed I would go. And it was really a life-changing event for me. First of all, I met other people doing similar work that we had been pioneering in the Milwaukee area. And it was, the things that occurred there were the things that made what then called National Association of Professional Geriatric Care Managers, which didn't have a name at that time, but the Aging Life Care Group, such a dynamic and important element for my whole professional career after that, which spanned 35 years. Because these were people, primarily women, who were doing the same work and had the same challenges. They were professionals, social workers, nurses, physical therapists, people doing, coming from different backgrounds, but doing the same core work, but they also had the same challenges that they were running a business, because all of us were professionals, but not all of us were business people. So I met this group of people. We agreed after that initial meeting that we would have a follow-up meeting the next year, and that we would begin to form an organization, because there was no other place to manage those two streams, the professional work of care management and the development of it as a professional specialization, and the business side of the organization. What do you do when you have, should you expand? Are you going to hire somebody? Are you going to, what kind of books should you be keeping? And what kind of records should you be keeping? Because there were no, hardly anybody was even on computers back then. And we needed to develop all elements that now seem kind of obvious, but at that time it was really a pioneering effort.
Thank you. And the other thing too that I know as an aging life care manager, it's really helpful to be able to interact with other care managers and share the challenges that we encounter with our clients.
Yes, exactly.
And there's no other place to really do that other than with other members in our association.
Exactly. It's a very special group of people who belong to this organization, because they're sharers. They want to improve their practice. They understand that talking with others and being, it's a national organization, so people can find input from all across the country, and yet no matter where you live, the challenges are the same.
So Phyllis, you've been involved in the organization for the 35 years, the entire time it's existed. Can you share your experiences and tell us about some of the changes that you've seen over the years?
Well, first of all, I agreed from the very beginning to be actively involved, because I felt that this was a tremendously useful opportunity. And so I think I originally was the treasurer of what was a nascent organization. It didn't really exist, but in order to collect dues so that we could begin to have some basis for communication and et cetera. And throughout the years, I've been in every single position. I was the president of the chapter. I was one of the first people to start a unit that was actually originally in Florida. And I thought, what a great idea. So we started a unit in the Milwaukee area. And I helped coordinate that and support it. And I was, I was the secretary of the national board. I was the treasurer. I was the, board president in 2009. So throughout the course of the many years of the organization, I have been very, very active. And it's been extremely useful because, again, the meetings, the yearly content-based meetings were very, very helpful for professional development, but also the informal ability to call somebody up and say, can you help me with this? And then the development of the journal. So there was, that was an early on thing that was started to be able to write articles and share them with each other, that having the idea that we needed to build a knowledge base that was specializing in this particular field was really very early on. So all of that, I think, really has built up not just the knowledge and expertise of the people in the association, but it has also had the other effect of getting the public to know about care management. Because when we started in 1985, and we started our organization in 1983, and nobody knew what care management was. And to say the idea that a social worker, because my business partner and I are social workers, would be charging for our time, it was really considered radical. Like, really? Somebody's going to pay you directly? You're not going to go get a grant, or you're going to work for a government agency? We said, no, what we do is really important enough for people to recognize that they can pay us for it. And finding how people manage that conversation in other parts of the country and with colleagues that you could demonstrate that and show it to other people, and training and education has been a very, very important element to tell the public that this is expertise that is worth paying for. And you're not going to get it from any other source because, you don't meet the criteria for Medicare, so Medicaid, so you're not going to be going through the public agencies. You don't meet, there's just no place else in your community to get this help but a private geriatric care manager or aging life care expert, as we rebranded a few years ago.
Thank you, Phyllis. Do you have any last thoughts before we end?
Well, I just hope that people who want to do this work and who understand how unique Aging Life Care Association is to providing them with a background and support to really blossom in their field and to be able to do what they want to do with help from others, and knowing how to solve their own challenging situations, both with individual clients and with the business elements and of their own practice. Just think it's really important. So I hope that people will understand how useful it's been and how much the public has really begun to call up and say, oh, I want a care manager. Believe me, when we started, nobody called up that says, I want a care manager, but people now do that. So I hope that that's helpful to everyone.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great talking to you, Deb.
Thanks, you too.
Okay.